Okay. Setting problem motivation with 3 points: refuge field, bodhicitta field, and the purpose of this practice. And particularly these 3 points, let us make sure that we listen to it well, and instead of you flowing into your own meditative reflection, just focus on these points. These points are so important. Once you're very confident with what I'm sharing with you, these points, after like 2 or 3 days, and then you can, it's not necessary for you to listen to somebody. You can form your own reflection, and you can do the reflections accordingly. The point is that you should be very productive and effective. The efforts that you put in can benefit the maximum. Okay, for that matter, refuge field. Refuge field meaning to seek support, undertaking this journey of enlightenment, undertaking this journey of awakening the seed of perfection that exists within each one of us. We need great support. And the greatest support that we can think of in this universe are the 3 jewels. So for that matter, visualize Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and all the 19 beings, like Arya Maitreya, Arya Manjushri, Arya Vruteshwaran, Arya Vajrapani, Arya Samanapatra, Arya Thara, Arya Kishirigarba, Arya Akashagarba, Arya Nagarjuna, then the Arya Deva, the Acharya Nagabodhi, Acharya Buddhapalita, then Acharya Chandrakirti, then Acharya the Arya Sangha, Acharya Vasubandhu, Acharya Dignaga, Acharya Dhammakirti, then Acharya Chandrakirti, Bodhisattva Shanti Deva, Bodhisattva Shanti Rakshita, Acharya Kamarashil, Lama Selingpa, Lama Tisha de Pangarashi Jnana, and then Buddha's Padmasambhava, Sachin Kumai Nyingpo, Satya Pandita, the great saint Tilopa, Saint Naropa, Juju Marpa, Juju Mila, Juju Kambopa, then Lama Tsongkhapa, Gyatso Rinpoche, Kyutu Rinpoche, just all the enlightened beings who you see as a role model for your practice of compassion, unconditional compassion, the practice of bodhicitta, practice of wisdom, emptiness. And how you visualize them, that makes a whole difference. Visualize them as your very affectionate parents, and imagine that you come home demoralized, and they demoralized after being bullied by elder children in the school, and your parents are waiting there to give full love, affection, attention, and embrace. The second part of which you think about, say, how the Bodhisattva and Bodhisattvas dare to embrace you with full love and affection. See, in some cases, tickling sensation of body comes with so much a feeling of love and closeness. This is the refuge. The more intense that feeling arises, the more intense is your refuge, more stable is your refuge. So the second part is so important. Next, Bodhicitta field. Visualize your 2 parents on the 2 sides, and all your family members, including your children, and everyone here in the center, in France, and the entire world, the middle of the galaxy, and the whole universe, including human beings, animals, insects, the spirits, hungry ghosts, hell beings, god and goddesses, all the beings that we can think of. And here again, how to visualize them, to reinforce what this bodhicitta is like, it is determined by the second factor, how you visualize them. Here you are the mother, and all others are like the children, and imagine they come home demoralized, and you are there to give full love, affection, attention, and embrace. number 3 is very important, the purpose of this practice. The purpose of this practice is to awaken this seed of perfection within each one of us, to awaken this Buddha nature within each one of us. The true nature of mind that should come out. The true nature of mind, it manifests. It has the nature of the fearlessness and the nature of the infinite happiness. Yet why we don't see these two? Why we don't see these two is because these two are obscured by the mental developments. And somebody who is seeking to achieve these two states of the awakening in the form of fearlessness and infinite happiness, this person is known as wise person. And to be wisely kind to yourself, to be kind to yourself, to be wisely kind to yourself. To be wisely kind to yourself means to actually engage in the practices to make this aspiration come true. But what is that thing by which to actualize this Buddha nature? It's by removing the mental dirts. To remove the mental dirts, in order to awaken this Buddha nature inside us, we need to know what kind of mental dirts are there. And the mental dirts are of two kinds, the gross and the subtle. Gross one referred to as the afflictive obscurations, the presence of which stops us from achieving fearlessness or nirvana. Subtle one known as the cognitive obscuration, the presence of which blocks us, stops us from achieving total awakening or the infinite happiness, referred to as the Buddhahood. And this gross afflictions, also the afflictive obscurations, is of three kinds: contaminant karmas, afflictions, and active seeds of the first two. And all these three, somehow they are linked with the self-grasping ignorance. So how to get rid of these afflictive obscurations is by resorting to the wisdom, which is the counterforce of this ignorance. The wisdom to see the reality as it is. And this must be driven by the motivation, the driving force of renunciation. Whereas to remove the cognitive obscurations, it is the same counterforce which is the wisdom of emptiness, but the driving force must be intensely powerful, is the bodhicitta. And this bodhicitta must grow from the root of great compassion, love for all sentient beings. And this is possible only if you have the experience of renunciation. So this bodhicitta grounded on great compassion and supported by renunciation. So this is the purpose for us to eventually to cultivate this very strong remedy to overcome the mental defilements, which is only in the form of the wisdom of emptiness, direct experience, non-dual experience of emptiness. And to have the non-dual experience of emptiness, it must be preceded by a spontaneous conceptual experience of emptiness. For that, it must be preceded by the reflection, conviction in the efficacy of the wisdom of emptiness. For that, the rich study of the experience of emptiness should be there, and the study supported by the practice. So it's for this reason that we are doing this practice in the morning. But with that in mind, and we are leading this, and all sentient beings are joining you in this the practice. With that in mind, let's turn to page 3. And teach with great compassion, you taught that immaculate Dharma to dispel perverted views, to you the Buddha Dharma, I pay homage. And teach with great compassion, you taught that immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views, to you the Buddha Dharma, I pay homage. And teach with great compassion, you taught that immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views, to you the Buddha Dharma, I pay homage. Sanye Shoda Soge Shonam La Shanju Bhalu Dani Kyatsu Shi Dagi Jinso Yeke Sonam Ki Jola Genji Sangye Rupa Sho Sanye Shoda Soge Shonam La Shanju Bhalu Dani Kyatsu Shi Dagi Jinso Yeke Sonam Ki Jola Genji Sangye Rupa
Sanye Jona Soye Chonamba Chanchu Padu Danye Gyansuji Danye Jinso Gebe Sonamye Chola Benje Sanye Juba Shu. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, while my inclinations to the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all human beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened while my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, while my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Independent origination, there is no ceasing or rising, no annihilation, no permanence, no coming, no going, no separateness and no sameness. I prostrate to the Gospel Buddha, the Supreme among all teachers, the one who taught this peace, which is the freedom of elaborations. I prostrate to the mothers of the hearers, the Bodhisattas and the Buddhas, who through the knowledge of all these hear seeking blessed which is complete peace, who through the knowledge of past courses also my greatest achieve the aims of the world, and who through the possession of omniscience helps subdue us expound a variety of teachings. The one who is transformed into the guardian guide, motivated by altruism to benefit sentient beings, the teacher is regarded and protector to you and make persuasions. The one who has eliminated the web of conceptualizations and is endowed with the divine bodies of the vast and the profound, who eternally shines for the forever noble life race, you the Buddha make prostrations. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I tell you the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Desham Tathagato Yavatat Desham Chayo Nirodha Evam Bhati Mahashramana Yesva. Profound, peaceful elaboration of free, care-loving, non-compulsive. Essentially natural life Dharma discovered, finding no one who can fathom this teaching in silence or retire in the woods. Beyond utterance, thought and expression is the professional wisdom, which is unborn, unseasoned, and has the nature of space, is the ultimate apprehension of self-realized wisdom, to you the mother of the Buddhas of the three times of the obeisance. All composite things are impermanent, all contaminating things are the nature of suffering, all phenomena are the nature of emptiness and selflessness. Emptiness and selflessness. There should be emptiness there. Transcending sorrow is peace. The Guru is the Buddha, the Guru is the Dharma, the wife of the Guru is the Sangha. The Guru is the source of everything wholesome. A great refuge to the Guru. The sound of the vibrant drum of Dharma, you liberate all pains and miseries. I beseech you to kindly remain in teachings until the end of the expanse of dreams and aeons. The Buddha does not watch the naked videos of beings, nor does he remove their miseries by his hands. His spiritual realizations are not transferred to them. It is by teaching the truth of the substance that the beings are liberated. With folded hands I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all the Buddhas in his rich globe. If you are attached to this life, you are not a spiritual practitioner. If you are attached to samsara, you have no realization. If you are attached to no bodhicitta. If there is blasphemy, do not attend you.
Okay, page 14, the praise to Shakyamuni Buddha. To the founder, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, full destroyer, completely perfected, full of awakened being, perfect in knowledge and beautiful heart, Sugata, the world, supreme God of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you the completely and fully awakened one, endowed, transcendent destroyer, glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakti land, our persuaded make our friends in the world refuge. When all supreme amongst humans, you were born of this earth, you pierced our seven strides, then said, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise then and persuade. With pure body, form supremely pure, rich emotion like a golden mountain, king that blazes in the three worlds, winner of the best, Lord to you are prostrate. With a supreme sign, spirit like a spotless moon, color like gold to you are prostrate. Dusty like you, the three worlds are not, incomparable wise one to you are prostrate. A Savior having great compassion, a Founder having all understanding, the field of merited qualities like a vast ocean, to you the Vajrayana are prostrate. The purity that frees one from attachment, the virtue that frees one from the lower realms, the one heartness, the one pure reality, to the Dhamma that pacifies are prostrate. Those who are liberated and also show the path of liberation, only feel qualified with realizations. While devotees are precepts, to you the Sangha are prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue mind thoroughly, this is the teaching of Buddha. A star, visual admiration, a flame of lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or bubble, a dream of flash lightning and clouds, the conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all seeing, subdue the four faults and be delivered from samsara's ocean, returned by the years of aging, sickness and death. Okay, page 29, Heart Sutra. As we said, the Heart Sutra does not miss the 2 points. The question asked by Shariputra to Adityanali, and the response given by Adityanali is how everything is like a dream. How there's nothing really there, the object real, as opposed to how they appear to our mind. And then the final point was the benefit if we practice, if we realize, as indicated by Adityanali, to see everything like a dream was the benefit, that all our fears will dissolve. And we will in his final point, we realize the full awakening, where not only that you become fearless, you are able to protect all beings by the wisdom of emptiness, by becoming the teacher of the wisdom of emptiness, to protect all beings. I prostrate to the Arya-Tribulation. Thus did at one time, the Buddha was dwelling in the massive mountain in Rajgriha, together with a great community of monks and a great community of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Buddha was absorbed in concentration on all the categories of phenomena for profound illumination. Also, at that time, the Bodhisattva Mahasatva Ayatollah built upon the very practice of the profound illumination of wisdom, and beheld those five categories also as independent in nature. Then through the power of the Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva Mahasatva Ayatollah, Arjuna, any child of lineage who wishes to practice the activity of profound professional wisdom training. He said that in the Bodhisattva Mahasatva Ayatollah said this to the Venerable Shariputra. Shariputra, any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound professional wisdom should look upon it like this, correctly and repeatedly, to hold those five entities also as empty of nature. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Empty is not other than form, form is also not other than emptiness. In the same way, failing discrimination, common factors, and consciousness is empty. Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are empty, without characteristic, unproduced, unceased, stainless, not without stain, not deficient, not open. Shariputra, therefore, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no composite factors,
no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visual form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no object of touch, and no phenomenon. There is no I element and so on, including no mind element, no mental consciousness element. Extinction of ignorance and so on, including no aging intent and no extinction of aging intent. Similarly, there is no suffering, origination, cessation and part. There is no solid wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Therefore, because there is no attainment, Bodhisattvas rely on and dwell in the perfection of wisdom, the mind without obscuration and thus without fear. Having completely passed beyond error, there is the endpoint in Nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell in 3 times also manifest the complete awakened, unsurpassable, perfect, complete enlightenment in reliance on the perfection of wisdom. Therefore, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of the great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra of equal to unequal, the mantra of the parting of aspect all suffering, should be known as truth since it is not false. The mantra of perfection of wisdom is declared, Yata Om Gade Gade Para Gade Para Samgade Bodhisattva. Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Master, should train in the profound perfection of wisdom like that. And the Buddha arose in that concentration and commanded the Bodhisattva Master, Aravakishvara, saying, well said, son of the lineage, it is like that, it is like that. One should practice the profound perfection of wisdom just as you have indicated, even the Prathava is rejoiced. The Buddha having thus spoken, the Venerable Shariputra, the Bodhisattva those surrounding the entirety, along with the world of gods, humans, asuras and Gandharvas, are overjoyed and highly praised as spoken by the Buddha. Harmful to the Dharma, and all enjoyments been accorded to the Dharma, and all auspicious with perfect happiness for this place now.
Okay, it was mind training. This is primarily to subdue our self-referential ego, and in the process to subdue our irritation, anger, and so forth. Once anger subsides, then it leaves room for compassion to grow. So that's whole purpose. It is not to undermine our confidence, it is not a self-denial practice, it is simply to deny or to undermine the self-referential ego. So meanwhile, boost the self-confidence. So finally, a real practitioner, real Dharma practitioner, a wise Dharma practitioner is somebody who is able to boost the self-confidence and undermine the self-referential ego. So this is what we're going to do. With the determination to achieve the highest aim for the benefit of all sentient beings, which surpasses even the wishful thinking, and hold on dear at all times. Whenever I interact with someone, may I view myself as the lowest amongst all, and from the very depth of my heart, respect for all others as superior. In all my deeds may I program my mind, and as soon as mental and emotional questions arise, as they endanger myself and others, I strongly confront them and arrest them. When I see beings of unpleasant character, and those oppressed by strong negative suffering, I hold them dear, for they are rare to find, as they discover the true treasure. When others out of jealousy treat me wrong with abuse, anger, and scorn, and I take upon myself the defeat and offer to others the victory. When someone whom I help or in whom I place great trust mistreats me in extremely hurtful ways, but arise, disgrace my precious teacher. In breaking, I offer benefit and joy to all my mothers, both directly and indirectly, I quietly take upon myself or others the beings of my mothers. May all these unite defied by the same aidment and concern, and may I recognize all things as solutions to all the kingdom and spiritual bondage. From my two collections, vast space that were amassed, provoking with effort and this practice for great length of time, and I can achieve living Buddha for all those whose minds with smiles of blinded ignorance. Okay, next 7 in practice, 7 program. The 7 points to be practiced, they are very clearly indicated in the text here. Just see how much we can really say the meanings flow in the mind and experience also flow to the best you can. But of course the meanings is something that we can think of flowing as we or reflecting in the mind as we sign. That is probably to prepare us when following this journey of cleansing the mind, to awaken, to make the seed of the Buddhahood awaken within us. I bow down to the youthful Arya Manjushri, who aligns among students, scorn of freedom in the present, past, and future, in the words of 10 directions. To all of you who are speaking sincere mind, I bow down, with energy and aspiration for the Bodhisattva way, with a sense of deep respect, and with as many bodies as atoms of the world. To all you birds of civilized to real, I bow down. On every atom of Buddha is numbered as atoms. Each of these are hosts of Bodhisattvas. With the infinite oceans of praise for you, and oceans of sound from the aspect of my voice, I sing the breathtaking excellence of Buddhas and celebrate all of you regardless. Beautiful flowers in the garden, sweet music, scented oils and parasols, sparkling lights and sublime incense, offer to you the tourist forms of Buddhas. Fine dresses and fragrant perfumes, all wondrous offerings, spectacular array, offered to you the tourist forms, which transcend the offerings, fearless and vast, with profound admiration for all the Buddhas, with strength of conviction in the Bodhisattva way, offer and bow down to all victorious ones. Every harmful action I have done with my body, speech, and mind, overwhelmed by attachment, anger, and confusion, all these I openly lay bare before you. I lift my heart and rejoice in all the merit of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in 10 directions. I solely realize that here is still training and goes beyond that of all ordinary beings. You who are the bright lights of the worlds in 10 directions, have attained the Buddha's omniscience through the states of awakening. All your home on guide, please turn to the supreme will of Dharma. With palms together, who may actualize Parinirvana, please stay with us for eons, numberless as atoms in the world, where happiness and well-being all wonders of samsara. Whatever slight merit I may have accumulated by making demonstrations, offering and confessing, rejoicing and requesting that the Buddha say and teach, I meditate to all this full awakening of all beings. Okay, mantra of 3. This ground alone with perfume, streams of flowers adorned with Mount Meru, and for convenience the sun and the moon. Imagine this is a Buddha faith and offering. The all sentient beings enjoy this pure land. Om Sashibhage Joja
minds directed towards the Dharma. May I be blessed that my Dharma practices on the proper path. May I be blessed that the path is free of flaws. May I be blessed that the flaws are seen the light of solid wisdom. Becoming frustrated with ignorance, they grasp the true existence. To the general renunciation, seeing all aspects of samsara as efficiency repulsive. This blessing that reminds me overflows with the precious bodhicitta that cherishes others more than myself. This blessing to have an immaculate experience with the wisdom of emptiness that does not see even an atom of intrinsic reality. What it is to understanding how things come into being by dependent origination through mere conditioning. This blessed Dharma reminds me overflows with the precious wisdom of non-duality of bliss and emptiness. Amen. The foundation of all good qualities. The foundation of all good qualities is the kind of perfect pure Guru. Correct devotion to him is the root of the path. By clearly seeing this and applying great effort, these blessings rely upon great respect. Understanding that the precious freedom of Krishna birth is found only once, is greatly meaningful and difficult to find again. This blessing is generally the mind that unceasingly day and night takes its essence. This life is as impermanent as a water bubble. Remember how quickly it decays and death comes. After death, just like a shadow follows the body, the results of riches and non-riches come or follow. Finding firm and definite conviction in this blessing always to be careful to abandon even the slightest negativity and accomplish all virtuous deeds. Samsaric splendors are unsatisfying and unreliable. Seeing them is the door to all suffering. Recognizing the shortcomings, this blessing will generate strong wish for the bliss of liberation. Thereby is pure thought, mindfulness, alertness, and great question arise. The root of the teaching is keeping the present motion bound. This blessing accomplish this essential practice. Just as I fall into the sea of samsara, so all under my weary being. These blessings see this training supreme bodhicitta and bear the responsibility of freeing my creature beings. Even if I develop bodhicitta, but I don't practice the 3 types of morality, I will not achieve enlightenment. When you feel recognition of this, please blessings practice of Bodhisattva vows with great energy. Once I pacify distractions through motive and thoroughly analyze the meaning of reality, these blessings generally quickly become a mind stream, a unified part of Karma body, especially this side. Having become a pure vessel by training the journey path, these blessings enter the holy gateway of the fortunate ones, the supreme pleasure of April. At that time, the basis of accomplishment to activities is keeping pure vows and samayam. As I become firmly convinced of this, these blessings protect these vows and blessings of my life. Then, having realized the importance of the 3 stages, essence Vajrayana, by persons with great energy in every deep of the 4 sessions, these blessings realize the teachings of Holy Guru. Again, may the Gurus who showed them the path, and especially friends who practice it long life. These blessings will pacify completely all out any inner hindrances. And all my life, never separate from perfect Gurus, may enjoy the magnificent Dharma by completing the qualities of sages and paths, and quickly attain the state of Aditara. Okay, as we recite this in Tibetan, just to conform to the meters while singing this, we skip just for that purpose, just to conform to the proper meter or not the meter, the 4 lines. The 3rd line is skipped. Of the 4 lines, the 3rd line is skipped. To this, say this together. You are Avalokiteshvara, great treasure of compassion, not aimed at true existence, and Manjushri, master of flawless wisdom, as well as Vajrapani, destroyer of rows of demons without exception. Songrava, crown jewel of the sages, the land of snows, of Santara, will feed our main prostrations.
Okay, the main practice, generating the Mother Cosmic Yoga in Tibetan. For that purpose, first we have to, 4 points. One is the single point meditation, renunciation meditation, Bodhicitta meditation, and the wisdom of emptiness. And then taking the aspiration of Bodhisattva vow. Okay, taking the aspiration of Bodhisattva vow, as I told you earlier, some people, they are so easy in taking the empowerments, vows, and so forth. Some people, they are so overly cautious. The moment they label vow when this comes, they're so overly cautious. So the point is, where there's commitment involved, very serious commitment involved, you have to check what commitments are there. If the commitment involved are quite serious, you cannot do that, then don't take it. Whereas if the commitment involved is something you can easily do it, and there's a tremendous benefit, why not? Why not we take it? Okay, so here, aspiration Bodhisattva vow, this has nothing to do with any commitment. At the most, just feel that, if you can feel this much, that from today onwards, to the best I can, I will try to help others. If not, at least I will not harm others. This much. If you can mentally prepare yourself, then you are fully qualified to take the aspiration Bodhisattva vow. And again, I'm telling you, I'm warning you that for the actual Bodhisattva vow, if you don't qualify that as aspiration Bodhisattva vow, if you just say Bodhisattva vow, that's very serious. Bodhisattva vow, or technically also referred to as the engaged Bodhisattva vow. So there, one should have experience, one should have at least some experience of bodhicitta and the stability of mind, compassion to a great extent, be generated towards all sentient beings. All these the prerequisites must be there. So whereas for this aspirant Bodhisattva vow, these requirements are not needed. Okay. So the first what we do is we do this single point of meditation, 5 minutes single point of meditation. Okay. Okay, today I will be, for 2 days I'll give the instruction. It's going to be more like, okay, with help of instruction. Then after 2 days, no instruction, we'll start right away. Okay, for that matter, those of us who are new to any form of meditation, I would suggest you to make sure that you listen to the instructions well for today and tomorrow. And then from the day after, we'll just directly go into the meditation. Okay. What we're doing, meditation is of 2 kinds. Generally speaking, meditation is of 2 kinds. One is analytical meditation. Analytical meditation is primarily to sharpen your mind and to enrich your mind with, say, with more materials, to reflect more the materials to enhance your mental the realizations. That is the analytical meditation, to sharpen you, primarily to sharpen your mind and to acquire more materials for you to think about, for you to grow more. Then the other one is single point of meditation. So what is very popular nowadays, mindfulness meditation and any kind of meditation. So they are primarily single point of meditation. There are 2. Single point of meditation is not really to enrich you with more materials for reflection, to grow you further, but it is simply to build the stability of the mind. And stability can keep growing. So that's one part. But then with the stability of what? Stability with the wisdom. So the wisdom has to be cultivated separately. And the single pointedness has to be cultivated separately in the beginning. Then later on, as one grows in the practice, then these two can go hand in hand. Just to the wisdom meditation, it automatically includes the single point of meditation when you reach a certain point of advancement in the practice. Whereas initially, these two must be done separately. The wisdom of emptiness should be cultivated separately, the stability cultivated separately. Okay, so for that matter, for the single point of meditation that we are doing now, there are so many kinds. It's not that what we're going to do today here. This is the correct one, and any other versions which are taken from what you do now, they're wrong. This is not true. There are so many versions, all are correct, provided that provided is coming from a genuine the lineage. That is very important. Okay, and provided the 4 points which we're going to discuss are intact. Okay, for the single point of meditation, 4 points to keep in mind. One is the body posture. Number 2 is the focal point. Number 3 is identifying the errors of meditation. Number 4, applying the remedies to overcome the errors. 4 points to keep in mind. Number 1, body posture. Body posture, if possible, see how if you can sit cross-legged. Cross-legged meaning your left foot on your right leg and right foot on your left leg. So if you can sit this, if you can sit in this position, and particularly those of you who have no problems with backbones, spine, legs, and so forth, those who have no problem, and for an extended period of meditation, long-term meditation, cross-legged position is very helpful. Whereas if you have any problem with the backache problem, or the knee problem, or any problem, then it's not necessary. It's not necessary. Finally, your body is not going to meditate. Your mind is going to meditate. But for those people who have the body, the upright position, no backache problem, then for them, this is very strange. This is how it's very. This is so those whose body is perfectly, you have no pain, no problem, and if you don't sit cross-legged, there's a problem. And those who have backache problem, pain problem, and so forth, for them, if you don't sit cross-legged, there's no problem. For meditation will go smoothly. The purpose is that meditation goes smoothly. Okay, this is one point. Then number 2 is the body upright. Body upright, which means that unless until you have backache problem, unless until you have some physical the problems, you are advised not to lean against the support. Okay, you can sit on a chair, but sit upright. You can sit on a chair, there's no problem, but you sit upright. It's very important, upright, but the body should not be rigid, it should be flexible. The body should be flexible. Sometimes when you keep a body upright, the tendency is that the body automatically becomes rigid and very firm. This is not. Once in a while, keep an eye on your body to see if it is flexible or it is rigid. It should be very flexible. Body upright, this is so important, body upright. Whereas if you have backache problem, if you need the support, you have to take support if you have backache problem. Otherwise, those who have no problem, you're advised not to lean against the support, just sit upright in a very flexible way. Then your head tilted forward a little bit. Your head tilted forward a little bit, but this is not really mandatory, but for the beginners, this would be very helpful. Your head tilted forward a little bit. Otherwise, there's some meditations where your head is just, your eyes are just gazing in the space in front of you with the eyes wide open. There are such meditations there, but this will come later, not now. And in some cases where everything is kept so dark, the meditation in the darkness, this forms of meditation also there. So that's very different. So for the time being, we are doing the meditation, which is to build the stability of mind. For that matter, keep your head tilted forward a little bit. And then the most important thing, eyes not closed. This is the most important thing. Eyes not closed. Particularly when you're doing single point of meditation, eyes not closed. For the analytical meditation, sometimes, because the analytical meditation, your mind is very active already. Even with eyes closed, there's no danger of sinking into laxity. But for the single point of meditation, whatever, your eyes should not be closed. Okay, this is for the single point of meditation. Whereas later on, when you become expert in meditation, where you can gain the power of meditation, stability of meditation, expertise in meditation. With eyes closed, eyes open, there's no difference. The beginners must do meditation with eyes open. This is so important. And the beginners, if you do meditation with eyes closed, is very dangerous. I'm giving this warning, very dangerous. And I'm not going to tell you the involvement is dangerous. If you're interested, we can discuss later. Okay, eyes not closed. Eyes half open, 45 degrees cast down, then ignore. Meanwhile, we are learning. Your eyes are not meditating. Your eyes will not meditate. It is your mental consciousness which is meditating. Which means that your eyes can be just the 45 degrees cast down, and your mind meditating on whatever object that we are going to learn. So your mental consciousness is going to meditate, not your eye consciousness. So in other words, our mental consciousness otherwise is a slave to eye consciousness. It is slave. It always chases after eye consciousness. Whereas with this meditation, we learn how to separate the mental consciousness from the eye consciousness. And eye consciousness is cast down, but the mental consciousness is actively meditating. So that is totally dissociated, completely dissociated from the eye consciousness. This is what we're going to do. Then the tongue should touch the upper palate. The tip of the tongue should touch the upper palate to avoid excessive accumulation of saliva in your mouth. And the teeth and the lips, keep them in the natural course. Breathe naturally. Don't force your breath. Don't control your breath. And right hand on the left hand, tips of two thumbs joining, the two thumbs standing, joining, following triangle. Place the two hands on the laps in a restful state. Okay, this is your body posture. And breathe naturally. This is body posture. Then number 2 is focal point. We're going to meditate. Focal point, there are so many versions. What we're going to do here is a very simple one and yet very effective. We're going to visualize a tiny dot, tiny white dot, 1 mm or 2 mm in diameter between nose and upper lip. Okay, just scratch this position between nose and upper lip. Just scratch this. Just feel. Don't look at it. Just scratch it and feel it. Scratch it and feel it. Okay, do you feel that? What feels is not eye consciousness. It is a mental consciousness. That mental consciousness which feels this. Yes, I can feel it. When you say yes, your mental consciousness is active. That mental consciousness is going to meditate. Your eye consciousness has nothing to do with meditation. Just keep it up, the open, and 45 degrees cast down, and the ignoring it. So this, you're going to focus on this white dot between nose and the upper lip. And your eyes are not looking at it. Your eyes should not be looking at it. It is only your mental consciousness should look at it. Where you feel the sensation now. So this is where you have to visualize the tiny dot. Multitasking. While you focus your mind on this tiny dot between your nose and the upper lip, multitasking. Count your breath. Breathe in, breathe out. Cycle 1. Breathe in, breathe out. Cycle 2. Two things happening simultaneously. So this is not an easy task. It's quite challenging, but try your best. Initially, it is really challenging. Eventually, you can. Two things happen simultaneously. One is focusing your mind on the tiny dot there, and simultaneously you are counting your breath. Not follow the breath. Don't follow the breath. Just count the breath. Follow the breath means, okay, now the air has reached my nostril. Now it's entered. Now when it through my channels, when it's going down, now at the base, then from there it's again coming up. This is following. We don't follow the breath, just simply count the breath. Follow the breath is a very different meditation. We're not going to do that. Just count the breath while you focus your mind on the tiny dot between your nose up and lip. Just count the breath. Breathe in, breathe out. Cycle 1. Breathe in, breathe out. Cycle 2. This is what we're going to do for 5 minutes. Okay, this is your focal point, number 1. Then number 3. Number 1 is the body posture. Number 2 is the focal point. Done. Number 3 is identifying the errors of meditation. What mistakes can be made in the meditation. For all meditations, whether you're doing sutra meditation, tantra meditation, and the vipassana, the popular 10-day vipassana course, or any meditation, Sakya, Katyu, Nyingma, Gilu, Hindu, Buddhist, Jain, Christians, whatever meditation that you're doing, point number 3 and point number 4 must be kept in mind. If you miss point number 3 and 4, any meditation that you do, or whatever tradition, Sufi meditation, Buddhist meditation, Jain meditation, it doesn't matter. Any meditation that you do, if you miss point number 3 and point number 4, you're not doing good meditation. Guaranteed. Point number 3, identifying the errors of meditation. What mistakes can be made? 2 primary mistakes. One is mental laxity, and the other one is mental excitement. Mental laxity is where your mind becomes heavy, lethargic, and mind is sinking. This is mental laxity. One flaw, which is the over inactivity of the mind. Inactivity of the mind. This is the mental laxity. The other flaw is the overactivity of the mind. One is inactivity, and the other one is overactivity. Overactivity of the mind, meaning the mind starts to scatter around here and there. This is the overactivity of the mind. So that is also known as the mental excitement. So should any of these 2 things happen, no need to worry. Apply. Go for number 4. Number 4 is applying the remedies to overcome the errors. What remedies? Primarily 2. And of course, if you specialize in this meditation later on, and then if you come across problems, and there are very specific remedies as well. But for the time being, we are dealing with only the very general remedies. General remedies 2-fold. One is the introspection and mindfulness. Introspection, mindfulness. What is introspection? Say if you have your pet dog, if you lost your pet dog, first what do? You go and search for the pet dog. So your mind, which is otherwise should be meditating, pet dog, which your mind is also otherwise meditating, this mind is like your pet dog. And when you lost a pet dog, it is like the mind is not sitting on the focal point, it runs away or is sleeping. That is like a pet dog disappearing, not sitting in your house. So that is the introspection. You go and search for the pet dog, what your mind is doing, to search in the mind. When you see that the mind is distracted or the mind is in a lax state, then the job of the introspection is done. You have found the pet dog. Once you found the pet dog, next is the job of the rope. Tie the dog with the rope and bring it back home and try to bring it to home. Likewise, once you find your mind distracted, once you find your mind sleeping, then is that the job of the rope of the mindfulness. With mindfulness, bring the mind back to the intended object of the meditation, which is the focal point. Okay, this is the applied remedies. Introspection and mindfulness. Ready? Okay, upright. 5 minutes. Okay. Today we will as for the renunciation, we do on the basis of the 4 seals. For since that we are yet to explain what the 4 seals are, we'll do it from tomorrow on the 4 seals, the renunciation. And today we will do the bodhicitta, and bodhicitta, not the full-fledged bodhicitta. We'll do it on the basis of the 4 immeasurables. Okay. Okay, ready? I reinforce the visualization of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in front of you. And they, as very affectionate parents, so loving, so caring, so embracing. And your 2 parents, and all the dear sentient beings, your the family members, your children, and everyone in the universe, leaving them aside. And here you're the mother and all of the other children. Imagine they are so heavily dependent on you, and you love them so much. And the purpose of this practice is to awaken the seed of unconditional love, which is a ground for bodhicitta, which is a ground for infinite happiness. This is going to be a guided meditation. You just follow your thought process, follow your thought according to the instructions, and stop ruminating over the past experiences. Stop engaging in the future events. Cut yourself from the 5 sensory engagements. Be in the present moment. Just follow the instructions and try best to invoke the respective experience to the best you can. First, immeasurable loving kindness. How good would it be that all my dear non-sentient beings are endowed with happiness and the cause of happiness. May all my dear non-sentient beings be endowed with happiness and the cause of happiness. I'll take the responsibility that all my dear non-sentient beings are endowed with happiness and the cause of happiness. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, witnessing the revealing such a courageous commitment, they're intensely happy and proud of you. This intensity of love and affection that they feel towards you invoke their compassion of initial minds to send for nectars and soothing lights towards you and all dear non-sentient beings. The mere touch of the lights and nectars with the bodies and beings yours instills in all happiness and the cause of happiness in the minds of sentient beings you yourself. And you witnessing such a miraculous happening to us all of dear non-sentient beings, we're intensely happy. Take 3 deep breaths, sigh with relief. Immeasurable compassion. How good would it be that all my dear sentient beings are freed from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all my dear sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. I'll take the responsibility that all my dear sentient beings are free from suffering and the causes of suffering. Like a mother, after all these many years of hardship of raising the children, for the first time, the eldest daughter, age 12, eldest son, age 11. Two of them come to the mother, tell the mother, "Mother, please take rest, you have done everything for us. Now we are grown up, we'll take care of all my siblings." Imagine, mother could not believe her eyes, mother could not believe her ears. She's so happy, so proud of her, the tender son, tender daughter. This is exactly what all Bodhisattvas are feeling today. They are so happy and proud of you, over taking the responsibility of freeing the beings from all suffering and the cause of suffering. This intensive love and affection, the pride that Bodhisattvas feel, invoke their compassionate omniscient minds to send forth nectars, very soothing lights to assume all the sentient beings. The mere touch of lights and nectars with the bodies brings you yours, washes away all the miseries and the cause of miseries from the minds of sentient beings you yourself. And you witnessing such a miracle is happening to us all, and sentient beings, you're intensely happy. Take 3 deep breaths, silent with relief. Immeasurable joy. How good would it be that all my eternal sentient beings are never separated from happiness and the causes of happiness that they endowed with. May all my dear mother sentient beings never be separated from happiness and the causes of happiness that they endowed with. I'll take the responsibility that all my dear mother sentient beings are never separated from happiness and the causes of happiness that they endowed with. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas witnessing the regular such a courageous commitment, they intensely happy and proud of you. This pride and happiness invoke the compassionate omniscient minds to send forth nectars or soothing lights towards you and all different sentient beings. The mere touch of lights and nectars with the bodies brings you yours, stabilizes the happiness and the cause of the happiness that beings are endowed with. And you witnessing such a miracle is happening to all different sentient beings. We're intensely happy. Take 3 deep breaths, silent with relief. Immeasurable equanimity. How good would it be that all my dear sentient beings are freed from the biased attitude of excessive attachment towards some and aversion towards others, and instead abide in a great state of equanimity, embracing all other dear sentient beings equally, leaving none aside. May all my dear sentient beings be freed from the biased attitude of excessive attachment towards some and aversion towards others. I'll take the responsibility that all my dear sentient beings are freed from the biased attitude of excessive attachment towards some and aversion towards others. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas witnessing the view with such a courageous commitment, like the mother after all these many years of hardship raising her children, for the first time the eldest daughter and the son, so young and tender in age, come to the mother, telling the mother, Mother, please take rest. We are already grown up. Please take care of my siblings. You've done everything for us. Imagine the mother feels so deeply touched and could not control her tears out of joy. This is exactly what all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas are feeling. They are so intensely happy and proud of what you are doing today. The courageous commitment that you took today to liberate all the demon sentient beings from the biased attitude. And this love and the intensity of the love and affection and the pride the Buddhist Bodhisattvas feel invoke their compassionate omniscient minds to send forth nectars and very soothing lights towards you and all the demon sentient beings. A mere touch with lights and nectars with the bodies brings to yours frees the beings from the biased attitude of excessive attachment to a some aversion towards others, and instead making them abide in the great state of equanimity, embracing all other demon sentient beings equally, leaving none aside. And if you're witnessing such a miracle is happening to us all of demon sentient beings, you're intensely happy. Take 3 deep breaths, sound the relief. The score of all the 4 immeasurables is the unconditional love towards all human sentient beings. Just abide in this unconditional love for a while. This is a basis for you to generate, cultivate, and experience the very profound, the most beautiful mind in this universe, the mind of Bodhicitta. Imagine with this tremendous love you are piercing through the eyes of each and every sentient being, reassuring them that I'm there to take care of you, have no fear. I'm there to take care of you. To the extent that each of the demon sentient beings, they feel so happy, they feel so secured, they feel themselves so special in your eyes. With folded hands. With folded hands, we'll make the commitment, Bodhicitta commitment. This is the beautiful mind of the Bodhicitta. I'll say this once, and we'll all say this 3 times together. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. Okay, abide in this beautiful mind, beautiful, courageous mind of Bodhicitta for a while. Be it superficial, it doesn't matter. Even though your mind may not naturally flow with these wordings, it doesn't matter. This is how we start. We start like practicing the piano. First, we hardly know where to put the fingers. It's so superficial, there's no music coming out of that. Eventually it becomes so natural, spontaneous that beautiful music comes out of that. It is only through this practice where the music was not coming. It is only through such a practice that eventually the beautiful music comes. Had it not been the case that you practiced it before without the music, this music will it's impossible that this music will come any time in the future. So likewise, what we're doing is so precious practice. Be superficial, it doesn't matter. From the superficiality, we begin, and then eventually become a living experience of Bodhicitta. The most beautiful mind, you feel so proud, you feel so deeply touched with this experience, the beautiful mind, the most tender mind that we can think of in this universe. Just the mere experience will give you goosebumps on the body. It will give you such a pleasant, tranquil experience within you. This is what we generated today. Okay, slowly transform this beautiful mind of Bodhicitta into a spotless clean moon disk, 1 inch, 1.5 inches in diameter, and sitting on the heart horizontally. Okay. With this, we'll come to the end dedication prayer. Page 49. Page 49. Okay, actual Bodhisattva vow, the aspiration Bodhisattva vow we'll take from tomorrow. Today we need to have the basic framework, teaching on the 4 seals, and then on that basis we'll touch emptiness, and the more detailed experience of emptiness will come from tomorrow. From tomorrow morning we'll take the aspiration Bodhisattva vow. Okay, so page 49. I dedicate the merit thus gathered towards the realization of deeds and prayers of the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas for 3 times, and to the holy doctrine, scripture, and insight. May I in all life, through the force of this merit, never separate from the 4 ways of the mind of the ego, and accomplish all the stages of the path, renunciation, bodhicitta, perfectly in the 2 stages. From my true creation, vast the spirit that will imagine, from working with effort and strength for great amount of time, may I become the chief living Buddha for all those whose minds visualize blinded their ignorance. Okay, so since we have little time, I'd like to explain one stanza which we read earlier, page 5, which is I prostrate to the mothers with the hearers, the Bodhisattvas and Buddhas. Page 5. Okay, this stanza is extremely important, and in fact, in the monastic universities, they study this text by Arya Maitreya, the text known as the Ornament of Clear Realization. Ornament of Clear Realization. This text they study for minimum like 6-7 years. Minimum 6-7 years. This text. And the word of salutation. Word of salutation here, which we read every morning. This is the word of salutation from that text. And this is so concisely, this is a summary of the whole text which the monastic university, the monastic university studied for 6 to 7 years. I'm going to explain this stanza, which is otherwise quite condensed. To understand this, we need to know 3 things. One is the practitioners, 3 kinds of practitioners, 3 aspirations, and the 3 means to take them to the aspiration. 3 practitioners, and the goals of the aspirations, and the 3 means by which to take, take the 3 practitioners to the intended goals. Okay, do you understand it? The 3 practitioners and the 3 intended goals, and the means which take them to the intended goals. Okay, what are the 3 practitioners? 1, those who seek personal liberation. 2, the Bodhisattvas. 3, the Buddhas. The 3 beings. 1, those who seek personal liberation. Number 2, the Bodhisattvas. Number 3, the Buddhas. Okay, what are the 3 intended goals of each of these beings? And those who seek personal liberation. First we need to know those who seek personal liberation is further divided into there are 2 kinds. One is known as Shravaka, and the other one is Pratyeka Buddhas. Shravaka and Pratyeka Buddha. Shravaka and Pratyeka Buddha. The difference between the 2 of them is pretty simple. In a very simple sense, Pratyeka Buddhas, they are more intelligent, they are more sharp faculty as compared to the Shravakas. Okay, both aspire personal liberation, Shrivaka. Then we have the Bodhisattvas, then we have the Buddhas. These are three beings. What they aspire, what is the goal that they aspire? Those who seek personal liberation, like the Shravakas, in English people translate it as hearers. Those who hear the teachings of the Buddha may not necessarily practice. Those who hear the teachings of the Buddha, the minor teachings of the Buddha, but they may not practice the minor teachings. Hearers. Okay, the hearers, the Shravakas, and the Pratik Buddhas. So what they seek is, their goal is the total pacification of suffering. Pacification of suffering. For the Bodhisattvas, their goal is to help the beings of the beings of different temperaments, different mentalities, different propensities, different dispositions. Bodhisattvas, that is their goal. And for the Bodhisattvas, because their goal is to help the beings to accomplish their goal, to accomplish their aspirations. What kind of beings the Bodhisattvas are to help? Okay, the Bodhisattvas, they have to help the Shravakas by showing their path towards personal liberation. They have to help the Pratik Buddhas by showing their path to achieve their own personal liberation. They have to help the Mahayana practitioners to follow the aspiration of the Buddhahood. So they have to know all the paths to help these beings. Because the beings, everybody is not following only one path, they are following different paths. So Bodhisattvas, wanting to help all the beings, they need to know all the paths. They need to know all the paths. Then the Buddhas, the third being, the Buddhas, their aspiration is finally to turn the wheel of Dharma. Turn the wheel of Dharma to dispel the darkness of the beings. They primarily is turn the wheel of Dharma. Now, so these three beings, they have their respective aspirations or respective goals in their mind, and these goals, what helps them to achieve their goals? So it says that okay, the page 5 it reads, are pursued with the mothers of the hearers, the Bodhisattvas and the Buddhas. Hearers meaning hearers, the Shravakas, and the Pratik Buddhas implicitly mentioned here. Explicitly hearers or the Shravakas are mentioned, and implicitly Pratik Buddhas are mentioned. In other words, those who seek personal liberation. Then the Bodhisattvas and the Buddhas. So we are yet to touch the mothers. It mentioned the mothers are pursued to the mothers. There are three mothers, meaning just as the mothers help their children to accomplish what they want. Likewise, there are these three mental qualities. Each of these three beings have their mental qualities, mental realizations, spiritual realizations, which help them to accomplish their aspirations. Just as the mother helped the child to accomplish the child's aspirations, these three spiritual realizations within these three beings will help them to accomplish their goals. So these three spiritual realizations within them, which help them to fulfill their aspirations, these three spiritual realizations are referred to as the mothers. Three mothers. Okay. What are these three aspirations? Number one, who through the knowledge of all, this is spiritual realization of the personal liberation seekers. Knowledge of all meaning to know the Four Noble Truths. To know the Four Noble Truths and the 16 aspects of the Four Noble Truths. Who through the knowledge of all, knowledge of the reality of the Four Noble Truths, the reality of the 16 aspects of the Four Noble Truths. So that within them, when they have this knowledge helps them to achieve their personal liberation. He leads hearers seeking pacification of fears, pacification of samsaric fears, lead them to complete peace. So, this line, second line, the second line indicates the mother for the personal liberation seekers. What is that mother known as? The knowledge of all. The knowledge of all. Knowledge of all meaning the spiritual realization within those Shravakas and Pratyek Buddhas, spiritual realization spiritual realization which knows the Four Noble Truths, which knows the 16 aspects of the Four Noble Truths. That is one which makes them to achieve the aspired goal. What is the aspired goal? Complete peace. What is complete peace? Nirvana. Okay. Then number 2 is Bodhisattvas, who through the knowledge of paths causes those helping migrators. Who are those helping migrators? The Bodhisattvas. Those helping migrators, the Bodhisattvas, to achieve the aims of the world. Aims of the world meaning sentient beings. World of sentient beings. What are the aims of sentient beings? Sentient beings, they have different aspirations. In a very simple terms, say some seek personal liberation, some seek the Bodhisattva path. So those who seek liberation in the form of Shravaga path, you have to teach Shravaga path. Those who seek Pratyek Buddha path, you have to teach Pratyek Buddha path. Those who seek Mahana path, you have to teach the Mahana path. So it says, who through the knowledge of paths causes those helping migrators. Who's the being? Those helping migrators. Who are those? Bodhisattvas. And what is the goal? What is the aspiration? Achieve the aims of the world. What is the aims of the world? To help the beings, to help the world of beings, to help the world of the sentient beings. How to help them? By showing them the different paths. So what makes them help the beings is their knowledge of what? Knowledge of the paths. They should know the various paths. So it says, who through the knowledge of the paths. What helps the Bodhisattvas accomplish their goal is the knowledge of the path. This spiritual realization for the Bodhisattvas. The metaphorical mother for the Bodhisattvas is the knowledge, the spiritual realization of the knowledge of the paths. Okay. Then last, and who through the possession of omniscience. So this is the mother for the Buddhas. Helps subduers. Subduers refer to the Buddhas. The one who subdued, the one who subdued all the flaws of the mind. One who subdued all the mental stains, mental defilements. Subduers referring to the Buddhas. Expound a variety of teachings. Subduers for the Buddhas, what's the goal? To turn the wheel of Dharma, to give teachings. What helps them to give the teachings? Precisely is their mother. What is the mother of the Buddha? What is the metaphorical mother of the Buddha? The omniscience. Omniscience. Okay, now the three beings, the aspired goals, and the means. These three means which help them to aspire to achieve their goals. These three means are referred to as the three mothers. Just as the mother is the means for the child to accomplish what they want. Just the mother is the means for the child to accomplish what they want. Likewise, these three mental spiritual realizations are the means to achieve what the three beings aspire. What are the three beings? What are the three beings? Who are the three beings? Hearers. Okay, let's say the personal liberation seekers. Personal liberation seekers. So here mentioned as hearers. Explicitly hearers are mentioned, but the personal liberation seekers, there are two. Hearers or the Shravakas and Pratyek Buddhas. Hearers explicitly mentioned and the Pratyek Buddhas implicitly mentioned. Okay, one being. Number two, Bodhisattvas. Number three, Buddhas. Very good. Now, what are the aspirations? What are the goals that they seek? The personal liberation seekers, they seek what? What's the goal that they seek? Nirvana or absolute peace, complete peace, or Nirvana. Bodhisattvas, they seek what? What is the goal that they are seeking? To benefit the beings, to benefit the world. It says, unto they achieve the aims of the world. Aims of the world meaning to benefit the world, to benefit the sentient beings. Number 2. The Buddhas, what is the aspiration, the goal? To turn the wheel of Dharma, to give teachings. Okay, now these 3 beings, they have the 3 goals to achieve. What helps them to achieve these 3 goals are known as, referred to as the mothers, the 3 mothers. Just the mother helps the child to accomplish what the child wants. These 3 spiritual realizations help these 3 beings to accomplish what they what they see, the goals that they see to achieve. Okay, now for the Shravakas, personal liberation seekers, what is the mother for them which help them to achieve the goal?
The knowledge of the 60
The knowledge of all. Technically it is known as knowledge of all. If somebody asks you what is in Tibetan, it is known as Gueshe. Gueshe in Tibetan. And if somebody asks you what is that, what do you mean by knowledge of all? It doesn't mean the omniscience. Knowledge of all also can be referred to as the omniscient. But here, knowledge of all refers to knowledge of all the 4 noble truths. Not all phenomena. Knowledge of all the 4 noble truths. Knowledge of all the 16 aspects of the 4 noble truths. Okay. If you have this will take you to Nirvana. Okay. Now for the Bodhisattvas. Bodhisattvas, what is the aspiration? What is the goal? To help the sentient beings, to help the world of the sentient beings. What is the metaphorical mother for the Bodhisattvas to accomplish the goal? The knowledge of the path. Very good, knowledge of path. Because to help the beings, you have to teach how to achieve the goal. For example, they have to teach the path. For the Shravakas, for the Bodhisattvas, again they have to teach the Bodhisattva path. So it is for that we have to know the path yourself. Then finally, for the Buddhas, the goal is to turn the wheel of Dharma. To turn the wheel of Dharma, to give teachings, to expound the Dharma in a very precise way. What helps you to precisely give the teachings is only if you have the omniscience. So, for the Buddha, what is the metaphorical mother to accomplish the goal? Omniscience. Okay. So, what are the 3 mothers now? What are the 3 metaphorical mothers? The noble of all, noble of the path, and the omniscient mind. Omniscience or the omniscient mind. You getting it? Who are the 3 beings? Personal liberation seekers, Bodhisattvas, and the Buddhas. Okay, what is the goal of the personal liberation seeker? Nirvana or complete peace. For the Bodhisattvas, to help the world of sentient beings. For the Buddhas, to turn the wheel of Dharma. Okay, what are the 3 means? What are the 3 metaphorical mothers which help each one of them accomplish the goal? Shravakas or the personal liberation seekers, what's the mother? The knowledge of all. For the Bodhisattvas, what's the metaphorical mother? Knowledge of the path. And for the Buddhas, what's the metaphorical mother? Omniscience. Very good. Okay, just within 2 minutes you understood it. It's amazing. Yes, Shah?
Pouvez-vous me parler un peu plus des 16 aspects des 4 vérités?
Could you explain more about the 16 aspects of the fundamental?
Okay. This will take another 2 whole sessions. Right? Okay, if you're interested, if you really want to study thoroughly, then the next year we'll be doing this in Singapore. And in case you cannot come, no worry. You try to get the recordings. Recordings will be available. The 16 aspects in great detail, but in a simple form is very easy. In simple form, very easy. But even for that simple form, we need 2 whole sessions. Yeah. But in other words, 4 noble truths, each one of them split into 4. Let's say for the truth of suffering, the form, the impermanence, suffering, emptiness, selflessness. Then for the origin, the cause, origin, the origin of all, the rigorous, the production, and condition. So like this, Each one of them, they have to 4 each. 4 into 4 is 16. Okay. Done. Any more questions? If not, we stop here. Okay, so the 3 methods which we learned now, these are the main subject matters, primary subject matters of the text. The fundamental clear realization, which in the Monastic University study for like whole 7 years, very rigorously, with debates, memorization, discussion, meditation, and so forth. Okay, 3 prostrations.